So now we will be moving on to the another data encoding technique. This is known as target encoding. So target encoding, also known as mean encoding, and is also known as Bayesian encoding. So target encoding or Bayesian encoding or mean encoding is a method of encoding categorical variables based on the mean of the target variable for each category. I will note it down so that it would be easier for you to process it. So target or Bayesian or mean encoding. Okay, so it's encoding of categorical variable based on the mean of the target variable. I hope you know what is target variable mean in data science for each category. So it's commonly used in machine learning tasks such as binary classification or regression. So where the target variable is continuous value or a binary outcome. The target variable should be a binary outcome or a continuous variable. That should be the condition for this. Okay. So now let's understand this better way. So I'm just repeating that the target encoding is a method of encoding categorical variables based on the mean of the target variable for each category, and it's commonly used in machine learning tasks. So where the target variable is continuous value or a binary outcome. Okay, so now let's take one example. Let's say we have a binary classification problem only, where we are predicting whether a student will pass or fail a math exam based on two categorical features, gender and study hours. Okay, so we have a target variable which is result. You can see that I marked it. So target variable result that indicates whether a student has passed or failed. I hope you got our problem statement. Again, I'm repeating. Let's say we have a binary classification problem where we are predicting whether a student will pass or fail a math exam based on, again, two categorical features, which is gender, which is gender and study hours. These are the two categorical variable, and in this problem statement our target variable is also result, is also a binary variable that indicates whether a student has passed or failed. So now the first step, as you see on the screen, the first step, the step one, is to split the data into training and validation or test sets. So out of the whole data, 70% of data I have taken for the training. Okay, this is the data. That's the step one. And after that, let's move on to the step two. In step two, calculate the mean of the result variable for each category in the training set. See here, I have calculated the mean of result. You see that? Mean of the result. It's simple. Let's take one category, count. So now we have a total 5 categories: male, female, low hours, medium hours, high hours. Total 2 categorical variables. Out of 2 categorical variables, we got the 5 categories. Okay, so now let's do the count of each category. So male we got 100, female we got 150, low hours 80, medium hours 120, high hours 50. And we will calculate the mean of each category. So mean of male is 0.80, mean of female is 0.65, lowers 80, 0.25, and this is how you calculate the mean of result. So mean of the result variable for each category in the training set. So once that is done, let's move on to the step 3. So replace the categorical variables in the validation or test set with the calculated mean values from the training set. That's it. So whatever the value that you have calculated, the result, mean of the result variable for each category, so that should be replaced with the respective category. So now let's take a gender. For gender, let's take study hours. For study hours encoded, low hours is 0.25, medium hours is 0.50, high hours are 0.90. Now I'm going to replace these categories with the mean variable, mean of the result variable for the respective categories in validation or test set. Now low hours is 0.25, 0.25. Medium hours 0.50, 0.50. High hours 0.90. It's the value has been changed. That's okay. 0.90. That's how you have to replace the categories with the mean of the result variable for the respective category. Hence, the target encoding is done, or mean encoding is done, or Bayesian encoding is done. So in this example, if we have a male student in the validation or test set, we replace the gender value with 0.80, which is the mean result for the male category in the training set. Similarly, if we have a female student, we replace the gender value with 0.65. Similarly, if you have a student who has studied for low hours in the validation or test set, we replace the study hours value with 0.25, which is the mean of the result for the low hours category in the training set, and so on. So this way, target encoding uses the mean of the target variable for each category in the training set to encode categorical variables in the validation or test set. It captures the relationship between the categorical feature and the target variable in the encoding and can be useful for improving the predictive performance of machine learning model. So now let's take one quick example to have a better understanding and better view of target encoding. Let's get into the Jupyter notebook immediately. Yep, so this is what our target or Bayesian or mean encoding. So let me take this data frame. It's df. Okay, let me execute this. Let me call this as df df target. Okay. Yes, this is what is our data frame. Our target variable is result, pass or fail, and then the target variable is dependent on two independent variables, which are categorical variables, which are gender and study hours. And gender has two categories, that is male, female, whereas study hours has three categories, whether you studied low hours or medium hours, whether you have studied for high number of hours. That's what the two dependent variables with the five categories. Now let's build up on target encoding. So let's import category encoders, category underscore encoders as CE. So it has been imported. If you want to check what all encoders you have, this is what, just put dot and then click on tab. You'll find all the encoders, and here you can quickly find out my target encoder too. So that's done. So now let me define the target encoding mapping. Let me define the target encoding mapping. So target underscore mapping is equal to dictionary. So pass is 1 for us and fail is 0 for us. That's what is our target mapping. So once target mapping is done, now it's time to initialize the target encoder. So let me call this as just encoder. Encoder is equal to CE dot capital T. That's target encoder. That's it. Initialization of target encoder is done. Now it's time to perform target encoding. So perform target encoding. So to perform target encoding, let me call this as DFT underscore encoded is equal to encoder, and let's fit the respective columns in using the fit transform method of encoder of target encoder. So let me add them as a list df of first one is gender, and second one is study hours. Let me directly bring from here gender and study hours. Okay, with this our target fit transform of target variables is done. So now let me take up the my mistake, my bad. So with this fitting of the independent categorical variables are done. So with this, the fitting of independent categorical variables into target encoder method is done. So now let's target on target variable. So df of my target variable is a result. So result dot map of target mapping. Okay, target mapping. That's how we want to map it. So now let me execute and see. Yep, let me execute. Yes, it's done. So now it's the target encoding is done. Now it's time to concatenate the original data frame with the encoded columns and see the result. That's what is left. So the concatenate the original data frame with the encoded columns. So df t is equal to, so dft coded dft e is equal to pd dot concat of dft and dft encoded, and then axis is 1, and finally let's display the data frame with encoded variables. So print dfte, here it is. So this is what is your target encoding. So here we are using the target encoding or mean encoding or Bayesian encoding. So here we are using the target variable for encoding. That's the reason this encoding is known as target encoding. So this is our target encoding, pass or fail. This is our gender. which is one of the independent variable, and this is study hours, another independent variable. And if you see that a male got 0.541995, and then female got 0.458005, and the same values has been repeated for the male female. That's how the respective category has been replaced with the mean of the result variable. Okay, mean of the result variable of the respective category. Same thing happened with the study hours. Low hours took 0.500, and medium hours 0.42, and then high hours 0.57, and the same one has been repeated, and this is what we call it as a target encoding or median encoding or Bayesian encoding.